Hey there, Mysterious Jackson here from the Mysterious Show here, and I'm gonna do part 2 of the track reveal and the recap. Let's get into it. And the fifth track that was revealed, it was What a Lonely Way to Go, but they changed the name to What a Lovely Way to Go. Now here's some stories behind this one. It was originally supposed to be on Forever Michael, but was updated for Off the Wall. Didn't make the initial track listing. And then it was updated for Thriller. Made it on Thriller as a pre-owner bonus if you bought it from Sandy's Goods, and if you ordered it, you would get that as a bonus. Now, this song is a ballad, and it was supposed to be on Forever Michael, but never made it. And then it was updated for Off the Wall. But Quincy thought it was too early for that song to be on the album. And it didn't fit the theme because Off the Wall is a disco album, and they wanted that to have a disco feel to it, and unfortunately, What a Lonely Way to Go, aka What a Lovely Way to Go, didn't fit the criteria because it was a ballad. And at that time, they didn't have too many albums that had ballads in it. And disco was the thing back then. So that song was rejected. It was updated for 2 albums and didn't make either. And it was on Thriller as a pre-owner bonus if you bought it from Sandy's Goods. And the next track that was revealed, it was Sunset Driver. And this is an Off the Wall song, but Sony rejected it because they felt it was too long. But, see, here's the thing. It was supposed to be on Off the Wall for the special edition, but when Sony rejected it, it was because they was mad at Michael for being a free agent. That's why they rejected it. And they came up with the excuse that it was too long. But they rejected it because they were mad at him for being a free agent, and they outsmarted him. But here's the thing as well. Michael outsmarted them. And so what they thought they could do is cry and try to destroy his legacy and his album. So that's the real reason why Sony rejected Sunset Driver. But it's getting a release here because it already has its initial release in the Ultimate Collection. But I'm going to tell you how compilation albums work. They mostly are supposed to consist of chart toppers and well-known songs and songs that are greatest hits that are played all over the radio. And the unreleased songs that sometimes make it onto compilation albums they're only thrown in there to get people to buy the album, because majority of the times greatest hits compilation albums do not sell well because there are already songs that exist from the intended album. And this song has been released twice because, like I said, it was on the Ultimate Collection, but it was also released on the Michael Jackson Experience video game. But I'm glad that this song is getting an official release, although people are upset because this song has nothing to do with Thriller at all. And you'd be correct, but that argument doesn't work because you want to be certain something is an off-the-wall track, and it still made it on here. So that blows that logic out of the window. And the next song that is confirmed for this album is Karis, that was intended to be on the album anyway. But Human Nature was a strong enough song for this album because there was a lot more room you could do with it. And it was a complex song. And people are not happy about that. And I understand it because they wanted songs like Nightline and Hot Street, Rolling the Dice, and Spice of Life on the album. Which, those are songs I wanted too. Because those songs were on my original copy of Thriller as well. But it probably comes down to writer confirmation, and what I mean by that is Hot Street, Nightline, and Spice of Life and Rolling the Dice probably had writer's credit and co-writer's credit on it, and Rod Temperton is no longer with us, and they probably didn't have permission from the family to release the song on the album, and the estate doesn't want to do things where they don't have permission. They made that mistake once already, and they don't want to make any more mistakes. Although I get why they want those songs in there, because those were songs that have already been released, and those songs need to come out because you can't really put them nowhere else unless you make another compilation album and put songs that haven't been released. But you can only put one Thriller song on the album if it's a compilation album. And the next song that is confirmed to be on here is She's Trouble, original version. And a lot of people are happy about that because that song was supposed to be on the album anyway. And then another song that is confirmed to be on here is Starlight. That made sense because that was already planned to be on the album. And they had permission from Rod Temperton years ago before he passed. And stay tuned for the rest of the video.